Welcome, everyone, to Intensity Broadcasting for tonight's coverage of the SCSRA Xfinity Series. Tonight, everyone, to Intensity Broadcasting. Tonight, these Xfinity cars will be taking on Kentucky Speedway for 130 laps of racing action. I'm going to be your announcer for tonight. My name is Atman Weiss, and I'm excited to call every lap of coverage here for tonight's Bluegrass 200. Now, this will be the first race of the playoffs. We will have 11 drivers competing for the championship, and this will be the first step to that championship race, which will be at Phoenix on April the 12th. Now, last week for the regular season finale, we saw Brian Newty take the victory at one of his home tracks of Auto Club. He dominated the race, leading 77 of the 100 laps. Jeffrey Belk, he ended up finishing second. And by the way, Brian Newty didn't even start on the pole. He started in third to get the win. Jeffrey Belk finished second. Colin Willems finished third. He led 13 laps. Fourth was Joe Wright. And then running into top five, that was Devin Buchno, your pole sitter. And then other drivers that led laps include 6th place Brett Murrow, who led 3, 7th place Dave Wright, who led 2, 8th place Austin Blaylock, who led 4, and 8th place, and then 9th place Eddie Morse, who led 1. So here is the point standings heading into the round of 11. Our playoff drivers Now, many drivers will have bonus points based on different things. So everybody was started out at 1,000, and then heading into this race, some bonus points were added that were gained throughout the season for, I don't know, maybe, I believe stage points maybe, and then for wins. Or it may just be you get points for wins. I don't know, but I know there is some bonus points for these drivers that were added to their 1,000 points. So here we go. Here will be your playoff drivers. We got the 8 drivers coming into this race above the cutoff line. Brian Newty in first. Colin Willems in second. Austin Blaylock third. Devin Buchno fourth. Jeffrey Belk fifth. Eddie Morris sixth. Joe Wright seventh. And Bryant Merle Jr., he is in eighth. Then we have 3 drivers below the cutoff line heading into tonight's event. They're going to want to try to race their way above the cutoff line here tonight, Kentucky. That is Dave Wright, Josh Hall, and Brett Murrell. So there you have it. That is your 11 playoff drivers, all fighting to, of course, first of all, make it to the Final Four at Phoenix, and then also make it to the make it to the Final Four at Phoenix and, of course, win the championship. We also have the team standings battle going on. CCM leads the team standings. They have a 248-point lead over second place Intensity DBC. CCM has won 7 races this season, 5 of those wins coming from Brian Newty and the other 2 coming from Austin Blaylock. Second in the team standings is Intensity DBC Racing. They've gotten 1 win this season, and that 1 win came from Jeffrey Belk. Third in the team standings is Neon Racing. They've gotten 1 win this season, and that came from Devin Buchno. Fourth is Wasted Wages Racing. They have 2 wins this season, both of them coming from Colin Willems. And rounding out your top 5 in the team standings, that is Cheeseburger Motorsport. And Cheeseburger Motorsport, they don't have any drivers in the playoffs. They don't have any wins. Their highest driver in the standings is Michael Lawrence, who currently sits 14th in the teams or in the standings. And lastly, we've got all of the independents. The highest driver in the standings that is an independent is Edward Manning. Actually, no, excuse me, that's Joe Tardif. No, sorry, yeah, Edward Manning, he is the highest driver in the standings, who's an independent. He sits 19th. All right, qualifying is underway here at Kentucky. Drivers will get 2 laps to try to set their best possible lap time. And that will determine where they will start on the grid. Making his first start of this season in the Xfinity Series, that is Stephen Black in the 18. Stephen Black is hoping to start off his Xfinity Series career for Season 4 with a bang, with a win here at Kentucky. He was very fast in practice. So let's see what Stephen can do here. Man from Spring Lake, North Carolina, is no stranger to the SCSRA. He has run some races with the series previously. And here's a little bit of stats on him. He's gotten, so his stats, Stephen Black, he's gotten 1 win in the series, and that came on November 3rd, 2021 at Atlanta. In total, he has made 11 starts in the series. The last start he made was in Season 3, and that was for the Daytona season opener. So glad to have Stephen Black back and running here. And he will go to the top of the board with a 31.16. His teammate Joe Wright is in second with a 31.28. So Joe only a 10th off of Stephen Black. There's one of our playoff drivers, Josh Hall. His teammate Jeffrey Belk on track, searching for his second win of the season here tonight. And there is Austin Blaylock exiting the pits in that 99. That Brian Merle Jr. All heading out onto the racetrack. Want to give a big thank you to our series sponsor, Dev Sports Cards. Dev Sports Cards was established in 2013 by SCSRA driver and Neon Racing team owner Devin Bucciano. Dev Sports Cards specializes in all your sports cards and gaming cards needs. From football, baseball, and basketball cards to Pokemon, Dev Sports Cards sells it all. On their eBay store, you find a wide variety of items, from high-end sports cards to their weekly 99-cent starting bid 7-day auctions. Don't have time to sell your own cards? Reach out to Devin and ask about his consignment services. Simply package them out, ship them out, or package them up, ship them out, and Devin will get them listed, sold, and then you get paid. Dev Sports Cards can be found on eBay with 4,000 plus positive feedback, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Dev Sports Cards is a proud sponsor of the SCSRA series and Intensity Broadcasting. So big shout out to Devin Bucciano and Dev Sports Cards for sponsoring the series, and definitely make sure to go check them out. He's got great stuff on his eBay store. When I put the links onto the description for the broadcast, I kind of skimmed through the items that they have, and they've got some really, really cool cards that, if you're a card collector, I know you definitely are going to want to check out. So I put the link to Devin's eBay store in the description. Go check it out and pick up some cards. We see Josh Hall was able to get to second on the board with a 31.23. That will put Hall 600ths off of first place Stephen Black, and that will put Joe Wright in third. Joe runs a 31.28, and that will put him a 10th off of Stephen Black still. Got Devin Bucciano in the chat with the blue heart. Yeah, I mean, gotta thank you, Devin, and Dev Sports Cards for all that you do for this series. Thank you so much, and good luck tonight. Good luck in the playoffs, man. And, of course, Devin Bucciano, he's one of our admins as well. He does a lot of big things for the series, keeps it running successfully. So, want to give a big shout-out as we enter the playoffs to Devin Bucciano for all that he does for this series, whether it's the adminning part of it or for sponsoring this Xfinity series. And, of course, he's one heck of a racer. This is the first time that this series has ran here since Season 1. So drivers kind of getting back familiar with the track in these Xfinity cars. That race in Season 1 may have been the most recent time that some of these drivers have driven these cars here. So kind of shaking off the rust. Intensity Broadcasting is proud to be partnered with Butt Kicker. For those of you who don't know what Butt Kicker is, let me tell you a little bit about them. Butt Kicker is the established and trusted leader in gaming haptics. The award-winning line of Butt Kicker products lets users feel ultra-low-frequency sounds. Their products are used and endorsed around the world by leading PC and console gamers, including professional sim racers. The patented design makes them incredibly accurate, powerful, and virtually indestructible. The Gamer Plus is the new and upgraded sim racing and gaming hardware that reproduces immersive, accurate, and powerful sim racing, flight sim, and gaming effects. To check out the full line of Butt Kicker products and figure out which one is right for you, visit thebuttkicker.com. Again, thebuttkicker.com is the website belonging to the established and trusted leader in gaming haptics. So, thank you so much to the Butt Kicker for partnering with Intensity Broadcasting. They make great products, especially for sim racing. Whenever I'm on the sim, I always make sure to use my Butt Kicker, and it really enhances the experience. And it makes for a very immersive experience because you can feel every little thing from rumble strips to when you change gears to when you tag the outside wall. I mean, it feels like you are in a real race car. Maybe you've been to a 4D movie theater with the haptic seats where you can kind of feel what the film that they're showing is. Well, that's kind of what the Butt Kicker is. It just makes for a really, really cool experience. So thank you so much to them for partnering with us. And we take a look back to qualifying. Devin Butchno on the top of the board with a 30.98. That will put him 300ths ahead of second place, Eddie Morris. Third is Stephen Black with his 31.16. He is about 0.2 off of Devin Butchno. Here are my keys to the race tonight. First of all, tires. Tires, they're going to be very vital throughout this race, especially with the long green flag runs that we most likely will have. So the drivers who can save their tires the best, they're going to be up front, or even if they don't qualify up front, they'll rise to the top throughout the run. The bumps. This track is an extremely bumpy track. And you'll probably be able to, you've probably been able to kind of see that throughout practice and qualifying. So drivers have to kind of figure out how to handle these bumps. Takes a little bit of getting used to. And it can be kind of easy to lose control of the car. So you definitely got to figure that out. And lastly, we'll say this, the pit entry and pit exit can be very difficult for this track. So I know maybe I've seen a few drivers kind of practicing that pit entry, practicing that pit exit, because it will be very, very important with the potential green flag pit stops that we can have. And, you know, missing that pit entry, spinning out on the pit entry, locking up the brakes, or having a bad exit off a pit road, it can affect your entire race. So definitely going to be careful of that. There you can see that kind of pathway going through the grass there. That is the path you need to take to get back out onto the track. So it's a little bit different than some of the other 1.5 miles. And we are now gridding for the race here. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. Starting on the pole with a scorching hot lap time of 30.979. That is Neon Racing's Devin Butchno in the 68. In second, that's the 8 CCM driver of Eddie Morris. Third, in the driver with Premier Racing setups, that's Stephen Black in the 18. Fourth, starting outside of his CCM teammate, that's Brian Nudie in the 40. And rounding out your top 5, it's Intensity DBC Racing's Josh Hall in the 81. Sixth is the 84 of Dave Wright. Seventh is CCM's Joe Wright in the 82. And eighth, it's Austin Blaylock starting outside of his teammate. He's going to be in that 99 car. 9th is Jeffrey Belk in the 54, driver for Intensity DBC Sim Racing. And rounding out your top 10, it's Neon Racing's Brian Merle Jr. in the 13. 11th is the only Canadian in the field, Colin Willems in the 17, driver for Wasted Wages Racing. So there we go. We've got 11 competitive drivers in the field tonight. All looking to start off the playoffs with a bang. Because I will say this, every single driver in the field, with the exception of Stephen Black, they're a playoff driver. So a lot of drivers fighting for their playoff chances, fighting to make it to the round of 8. So there's a lot on the line here tonight. Stephen Black in that 18 car. He's trying to play spoiler. He is the only non-playoff driver in the field. Let's see if Black can do that. He looked fast in practice, looked fast in qualifying. I think he's going to be competitive throughout this race. Here we go. 130 laps. And green flag is out here at Kentucky Speedway. The Bluegrass 200 is underway. There's Devin Butchino on that inside lane. He's got a good run heading into 1 and 2. Eddie Morris on that outside losing ground and looks like heading into the backstretch. Devin Butchino was able to get clear and will take that first place position. We got a side-by-side battle for second. Eddie Morris, Stephen Black, teammates battling it out. Eddie Morris at the moment has the nose on the outside. But a big run off of turn number 4 for Stephen Black. They are door-to-door as they cross the start-finish line. And both of them are staying within about a tenth of Devin Butchino. Neither of them are letting him get too far ahead. Eddie Morris, he is making that outside work. Kentucky can be a multi-groove racetrack. Typically, the bottom is going to be the preferred lane, but we may see some drivers be able to make that outside lane work if it suits their driving style. So we see Eddie Morris. He is making it work on that outside, and actually, he's got the nose over Devin Butchino heading off of 2. He is clear. Eddie Morris is to the lead here at Kentucky. Last time by on the outside, he ran the fastest lap time of the race with a 31.45. The only thing I will say about the outside is typically it burns up tires more because you're having to turn the wheel more. So we might not see drivers run on that outside later in the run, maybe just in the beginning to get some positions while the tires are fresh. Black able to get by Devin Butchino for that second place position. He will set his sights on his teammate, Eddie Morris, trying to take that first place spot. Elsewhere in the field, Dave Wright 4th, Brian Nudie 5th. Nudie trying to reel in that 84 machine. Also there, Josh Hall. We got Austin Blaylock. From about 4th all the way to 9th. The field is extremely tight with each other. And Brian Nudie looking underneath the 84 machine. He is to about his rear quarter panel. He'll dive it down to that yellow line in 3 and 4. Dave Wright still with the nose on the outside. We see Josh Hall maybe trying to peek in and make it 3 wide. I don't know if you really want to try to do that, though. So early on in this race, only 6 laps completed. Brian Nudie's got a big run on the bottom off of 2. And he will get clear over Dave Wright. We see a car on the outside wall. Cars fanning out on the backstretch. Nobody's around. No wreck, no harm, no foul. Just some hard racing that you expect to see here at Kentucky. Kentucky, really fun 1.5 miles. It definitely has its quirks compared to some of the other more cookie-cutter tracks. And it typically produces some great racing. Brian Nudie is reeling in your pole sitter, Devin Buchno, for that third-place position. Since the green flag dropped, Devin, after starting on the pole, has already lost 2 positions, looking to potentially lose another one to both Brian Nudie and maybe Dave Wright, who is right behind Nudie. So I don't know if Buchno is just kind of slow or doesn't have the pace that he wants to have, or he could potentially be saving tires. But he is definitely falling back, regardless of what he's trying to do, whether it's intentional or unintentional. And he's got Brian Nudie, Dave Wright reeling him in. Look at that. From third all the way to last place. The field is extremely tight with each other. Question is, who is going to make the move first between these 3 drivers? Devin Buchno, Brian Nudie, and Dave Wright. Brian Nudie we see looking high, looking low, trying to set up some kind of pass. Of course, trying to build up a run on that backstretch. Take advantage of the high speeds of this track. I'm not entirely sure, but I believe at Kentucky, there could potentially be a draft on the backstretch with the high speeds that these drivers are having. We see 182, 183 is about the top speeds for these drivers, and they're reaching that about at the peak of the front stretch. So the front and back stretch could be where you could pick up some draft on the driver in front of you. Brian Nudie able to get by Devin Buchno. Now Dave Wright is trying to get by Buchno on that outside. We know that outside can work. Right with the nose, heading into 1 and 2. He's got his brother Joe behind him, looking to also try to make it by Buchno. Almost clear, and he is. Dave Wright heading into 3 and 4 will shut the door on Devin Buchno and works his way up to 4th. Now Devin Buchno about to lose another position to Joe Wright, who is also trying to do like his brother did and pass him on that outside. So a big run there for Joe. The outside at this point of the run seems to be strong, but that may change as these tires wear. There we go. Joe Wright able to get clear over Devin Buchno, and we've got a battle for the lead beginning to brew. And just like that, Stephen Black able to fly right by Eddie Morris, and that 18 car is to the lead. So in just 13 laps, Stephen Black has gone from 3rd all the way to 1st. Uh-oh, we've got a battle brewing between brothers. That was an alliteration of B's there. I got Joe Wright, Dave Wright, side by side on the backstretch. They're door-to-door into 3 and 4. Dave has got the nose on the outside, but Joe Wright has got a good run heading off of 4. He's got Devin Buchno behind him, and Joe Wright will have the nose as they cross the start-finish line. Dave Wright trying to hold his own on that outside, but Joe, such a strong run on the battle, he is able to get clear, and Joe Wright makes his way to 4th. Devin Buchno, with the fact that Dave Wright was on that outside, he had the bottom exposed. He follows right behind Joe, and if he can get clear, yep, now he is clear. Devin Buchno will take that 5th place spot. Now, Devin Buchno trying to get by Joe Wright for 4th. Buchno is about 2/10 off of Joe at the moment. And looks like Joe is extending that gap a little bit between him and Devin Buchno. Ooh, big run for Devin, though. He dives it down to the bottom of the racetrack to that first seam. And we see he gains a little bit of time on Joe. And as they cross the start-finish line, he's a lot closer to Joe than he was the previous lap. So Now we see Joe, after kind of running in the middle of the track last lap, he goes down to that first seam just like Devin did, and he extends that gap out. So Joe learning, seeing what everybody else is doing, and applying that to how he's running. Yeah, much better through the corner and on exit for Joe after adjusting his line and running on that seam. On that first seam off the yellow line. And I think the main thing that probably helped him was seeing Devin Butchino do it, seeing how he gained the most time on him when he did that. And as a racer, that's what you're trying to do is, if you're struggling with something, if somebody's gaining on you, or you're trying to catch somebody, look to see what you're doing, or look to see what they're doing. Try to use that to their advantage. They could be doing something well that you're not doing. And you might want to try to do that, or they might not be doing something well, and they might be making a mistake at some portion of the track, and you got to use that to your advantage and try to be your very best at that portion of the track, so when they make that mistake, you're at your very best and can go right by them. Throughout the race, these racers, they're thinking a lot. And of course, when we get to that portion of the run, there will be some more thoughts in these drivers' heads about tire saving, or tires and pitting, because eventually the tires are going to be really worn up. You're going to be running out of fuel. You're going to have to make a green flag pit stop, so that's another thing that you're thinking about, whether it's kind of in your head or you're discussing it as a team while racing, just trying to figure out what is going to be the best strategy for tires and for fuel. Elsewhere in the field, we've got a battle for second beginning to brew. Actually, no, it's not beginning to brew. It's already happened. Brian Nudie able to get by Eddie Morris for that second place position. Right now, 1, 2, 3 is CCM drivers. Good day for them so far. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4 is CCM. The first driver that isn't a CCM driver is Devin Butchino, who is 5th, so he kind of makes it so that we are not going to be able to have a CCM top 5 at the moment, but right behind Devin Butchino in 6th is the other CCM driver in the field, Austin Blaylock. Devin Butchino continuing to try to set up a pass on Joe Wright. These two have been running close to each other for a little bit now. And he can maybe gain, I don't know, a half a tenth in some parts of the track, and then he just loses it all. So Devin Butchino has just got to try to find a way to... Oh, there we go. We saw he had a good run off at the exit of 2 there. And he is able to get right up to Joe Wright's back bumper. He is there through 3 and 4, and he is able to get to his rear quarter panel. Ooh, Joe Wright able to shut the door off of turn number 4, but Devin Butchino going to try to build up a big run on the front stretch and maybe try to make a move into 1 and 2. He will not do that. He will not be able to do that, but he's going to stay very close to that back bumper of Joe Wright. And once again, take advantage of these high-speed straightaways and build up a run. We see Butchino might be running a little bit lower through the corner than Joe. Not by much, though. He's just experimenting with different things, different lines, different braking and lifting points. Trying to see what is going to be the best thing to get him by Joe here. And we have officially completed 25 laps here at Kentucky. I want to quickly take the time to talk a little bit about Kentucky Speedway. Situated on 850 acres of land near Sparta, Kentucky, midway between Louisville and Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky has hosted ARCA, IndyCar, and NASCAR racing since its opening in 2000 and staged its first NASCAR Cup Series race won by Kyle Busch in July of 2011. Kentucky Speedway is a 1.5-mile tri-oval design featuring a 1,600-foot-long backstretch and 4 turns banked at 14 degrees. The racing surface is a uniform 57 feet wide throughout and includes a 12-foot apron. The track also includes a paved quarter-mile oval, which utilizes a portion of the pit lane and tri-oval. Originally constructed by a group headed by Jerry Carroll, the facility was sold to Speedway Motorsports, Inc. in 2008. Speedway Motorsports subsequently expanded the track's seating capacity from 66,000 to 100,000, reconfigured the pit lane to include the quarter-mile oval, and acquired an additional 200 acres of property to be utilized for camping on race weekends. Unfortunately, Kentucky has not seen any sort of major racing competition since 2020. COVID really hurt the track. The track has not closed yet. The track has not been demolished yet. It is still standing. It still exists. It can still host racing, but at the moment, it is currently not hosting any events. So hopefully, maybe in the future we can see racing return to Kentucky. It's a really good track. There's been some phenomenal races from that race that we saw in 2020 with Cole Custer taking the win. I know we had that great Busch Brothers battle in 2019. There's been some great moments held here at Kentucky. And hopefully, like I mentioned, racing, NASCAR racing, or maybe another series, lower series, can return here to Kentucky and maybe bring it a little bit back to its former glory. And luckily, if the track was to close down or get demolished, it will always be archived here on iRacing, and that is the beauty of the sim, is even defunct tracks, they are archived on here forever and ever, so you can remember them. USA International Speedway, that's been demolished, turned into an Amazon warehouse, but it's still here on iRacing. You can still run here. Rockingham hasn't really hosted much racing action in many years, but it's still here on iRacing. North Wilkesboro, before the plans were made to revitalize it, it was on here on iRacing. So iRacing is a really cool archive with a lot of tracks. Another track, Chicagoland, hasn't hosted much NASCAR competition in recent years. That is another track that is archived here on iRacing. So super, super cool with how iRacing does that. And hopefully it helps people relive some great memories running on maybe their former home track or whatnot. iRacing just had a big update recently. So this is, we got a battle for the lead. Big run for Brian Newty. He is underneath Stephen Black, and he is clear. Brian Newty now to first. We see Stephen Black. He falls to second. Brian Newty, he is looking fast right now. Well, like I was saying, big shout out to iRacing for always making sure to have really cool tracks, recreating these tracks really well, scanning them in really well. And of course, if a track closes, just not removing it and always keeping it around. So it's always archived here on the sim, and we can always remember it. Another example, Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach closed down, but still here on the sim. So again, shout out to iRacing for always being a great archive for some of the former tracks in racing. I do want to mention this. There will be a stage break in this race. And that stage break will come out on lap 40. So that will be in about 6 more laps. We will have that stage break come out. And that will give drivers an opportunity to come in, get some tires, get some fuel, and of course, it'll get the field bunched back up. We've got Austin Blaylock reeling in Devin Buchno for that 4th place position. Big run on the backstretch for Blaylock. He's getting up there to the back bumper of Buchno. You see Buchno extending that gap a little bit through 3 and 4. But Blaylock closes it on exit of 4 there. He's got a good run on the front stretch, maybe trying to set something up for 1 and 2. No, we see he loses ground on Devin on entry through the on entry of the corner there. But as I say that, he reels him back in off of exit of 2. Man, he is right there. He is within striking distance. We've got 2 other drivers joining this battle as well. Dave Wright, Brian Merle Jr., making this a 4-horse race. So Blaylock right now trying to set up a pass on this 68 machine. He's got great corner exit speed. He's got a great corner exit off of 2 there. He is underneath Devin Buchno side by side into 3 and 4. Buchno still has the nose on the outside lane. Blaylock was about to his rear quarter panel, but off of 4, Devin Buchno will shut the door, and Blaylock will stay in 5th for the time being. Going to try to build up another run before that stage break potentially, and looks like Eddie Morris, he really burnt up his tires. He is into the pits. It looked like the car was just not good to drive there, and a tire looks like just blew up. That's the right rear. That is unfortunate there for Eddie Morris. I can rewind that there. Let me rewind that so you can check it out. Yeah, unfortunate for Eddie Morris, but looks like he's got some new shoes on that 8 machine, and he now has the freshest tires out of the entire field. So we'll see what Eddie Morris can do here as he tries to get back onto the lead lap. He's currently the only driver a lap down. Actually, he most likely will get the lucky dog with the stage break coming out right about now. There we go. There is the stage caution. Brian Nudie is your stage winner here at Kentucky. That'll give him some valuable stage points. Finishing 2nd, Stephen Black. 3rd, Joe Wright. 4th, Devin Buchno. 5th, Austin Blaylock. Finishing 6th was Brian Merle Jr. 7th was Dave Wright. And that 8th place spot was Colin Willems. 9th was Jeffrey Belk. And rounding out your top 10, that was Josh Hall. This will be the only admin caution. The only other caution or cautions that we will have tonight is for an incident on track. After this, though, if we don't have any wrecks, anything to bring out a caution, it'll be green flag the rest of the way, which means we will have a green flag pit stop, I believe. Yeah. Speaking of pit stops, Looks like Brian Nudie and majority, the whole field heading on to pit road to get some fresh tires and a drink of fuel. The only driver that stays out is Eddie Morris, who came in right before the stage break and got some new tires. Devin Butchno, he's going to have the advantage on pit road here. He has the first pit stall. So he is right by the pit road exit. We see Brian Nudie is the first driver out of his pit stall, and he is the first driver off of pit road. Then it's Stephen Black, Joe Wright, Austin Blaylock, Devin Butchno, Colin Willems, Dave Wright, Brian Merle Jr. We've got Josh Hall, Jeffrey Belk sitting there on pit road. Looks like they have some damage that needs fixing. Let's take a look at both of those cars. Looks like Josh Hall, there we go. Josh Hall is officially off. Looks like he's gotten that damage fixed. Jeffrey Belk still sitting and getting it all done. There we go, he's off now. So we now have all drivers back onto the lead again. And all drivers have fresh tires. Only thing is Eddie Morris, he has, I don't know how much of a difference it'll make. Eddie Morris has about 5 lap older tires compared to the rest of the field. So his might wear a little bit quicker than everybody else. We've got Dave Wright, Eddie Morris into the pits. See what these guys are doing here. Looks like it is a gas and go for Dave. Looks like for Eddie, it's getting some damage fixed. Maybe getting some of that right side damage that you can see there on the right rear. So far tonight, the main drivers that we've seen look good is your three of the CCM drivers. I mean, the entire team of CCM has looked great, but three of the CCM drivers, Brian Nudie, Stephen Black, Eddie Morris, all of them have looked fast. Devin Butchno has showed some speed after starting on the pole, but kind of fell back there throughout that run. And, of course, Joe Wright, Austin Blaylock, Dave Wright, all looking very fast. Joe Wright is into the pits. Josh Hall, Jeffrey Belk, Dave Wright, Eddie Morris. Look at that. Almost half the field is into the pits. Or I'd say about half the field. Let's see what everybody's going to do here. Joe Wright, gas and go. See Eddie Morris, just a gas and go. Same thing with Jeffrey Belk. Same thing with Dave Wright. It's like Eddie Morris actually didn't go to his pit stall. He may have had a pass-through or something. Lights on the pace car are out. We are getting ready to go back green here. Brian Nudie will elect to restart on the outside, so he's got his teammate Stephen Black below him. In third, starting behind his teammate, that is Austin Blaylock. And then fourth, it's Devin Butchno rounding out your top 5. Watch out for him. That is Colin Willems. Pace car is in. There we go. Green flag back out here at Kentucky. Brian Nudi up through the gears, heading into turns 1 and 2. He's got Stephen Black behind him. We see the top 4 all tucking in line. Stephen Black going to try to reel in Brian Nudi for this lead here. He is closing the gap here, bit by bit. Stephen Black actually has Austin Blaylock reeling him in for that second place position. Big run for that 99 machine. He's looking low, heading into 1 and 2, where he was on through the tri-oval, but he's not able to get underneath the 18. This is teammates battling with each other. Sure, because they are teammates, they'll battle each other pretty cleanly. And right there as well is another half CCM driver. That's Colin Willems. And Colin Willems has got a big run on the bottom. He is able to get to Blaylock's door. They are pretty much door-to-door into 1 and 2. Blaylock, though, big run on the outside. He's able to get back clear over Colin Willems. And he's going to still continue to try to get by. Back bumper heading into 3 and 4. He does not make a move, though. I mean, he's got a ton of speed. Big run for Blaylock, heading off of 4. And looks like he's going to go to the outside of Stephen Black, trying to make it work up there. And looks like these 3 are reeling in Brian Nudi for the lead now. So you could pretty much throw a blanket over your top 4 right now. There we go, side by side. Blaylock, Black. Blaylock has the note on his teammate, Brian Nudi. Side by side for third. Colin Willems able to get by Stephen Black. Now Austin Blaylock, he is underneath Nudi. He's got the nose. We see, he's able to get clear for him into 3 and 4. Austin Blaylock looking extremely fast right now in that 99 machine. He was able to make some big moves on that restart, and here he is in that first place position. Colin Willems also able to get by Nudi. He gets up there to second, and will set his sights on your first place driver, Austin Blaylock. Stephen Black reeling in Brian Nudi for that third place position. Nudi ran about 0.2 faster, though, last time by than Black. We see a difference there, though. That time by, Black was 0.3 faster than Nudi. We've got oh my gosh, Colin Willems right on the back bumper of Austin Blaylock. He is looking low on the backstretch, trying to set something up for 3 and 4. They are door-to-door. Wow. Oh, that could have gone bad. They are running clean, though. Willems, he's got the nose on the backstretch, and looks like he will have the nose as they cross the start-finish line. They are door-to-door. Blaylock staying right with Colin. He's about on Colin's door at the moment. Willems is able to get the nose over Austin Blaylock on the backstretch here. Austin Blaylock's trying to fight back on the outside, though. Almost trading paint there. I mean, they are running really, really tight with each other. They door each other off of 4 there. Really tight battle for this first place position. They door each other again. Still able to keep it clean. Blaylock, big run on the outside, and he is able to shut the door on Colin Willems and take that first place position back. And he will begin to extend that gap between him and Colin Willems. That was a really good, tight battle between those two, but a really good and clean battle. These two technically teammates. Colin Willems has been kind of sharing information and hanging out with a lot of the CCM drivers. So I know these two, they've got a lot of respect for each other. But man, they put on a heck of a show This could resume later on if Willems can reel back in Blaylock. Great battle we just saw there. Elsewhere in the field, Brian Nudi trying to reel in Josh Hall for that 4th place position. Brian Nudi losing Josh a little bit there. Josh able to extend that gap. We may have the battle of the Brian and Brian show. Brian Merle Jr. is reeling in Brian Nudi for that 5th place position. We'll continue to keep an eye out on that. And then right behind them, it's Devin Butchno, Dave Wright close behind. Really tight battle really tight field from 5th to 8th. And looks like Jeffrey Belk will reel in this pack as well. Colin Willems potentially trying to reel back in Austin Blaylock for that 1st place position. We saw he gained a little bit, but he loses that time. Junior still trying to reel in Brian Nudi for that 5th place position. He's got a good run off of 4. Trying to build up that momentum on the front stretch to set something up for the ensuing lap. Whether it's in 1 and 2 on the backstretch or 3 and 4. There we go, another good run. Brian Merle Jr. He was peaking low there. Not quite able to get under Nudi, but he's definitely got a good run on him. Colin Willems diving down underneath Austin Blaylock. This is the fight for 1st place. Willems to about Blaylock's rear quarter panel, but Blaylock able to shut the door through 1 and 2. Colin Willems he's got a good run off of 2. He's able to get really close to that back bumper of Blaylock. Or Blaylock's back bumper. Willems trying to set up the pass. He will dive it low through the tri-oval, and he is able to get pretty much door-to-door with Blaylock. There we go. Willems has the nose heading through turns 1 and 2, but Blaylock fights back on the outside, and now he has the advantage over Colin Willems heading onto the backstretch. Willems able to keep it on Blaylock's door, but nice run for Blaylock on the outside will allow him to shut the door and get back clear over Colin Willems. Colin Willems, once again, he will dive it down all the way almost to the apron on that front stretch. Can't quite get under him that time by. There we go. Good run through turns 1 and 2. He is able to get, two almost making contact there. Looks like he was able to get underneath him, but once again, Blaylock will shut the door. Looks like we have a 3rd horse joining this race, another driver joining the party. That is Stephen Black in the 18. Ready to pounce if either of these two make a mistake. And another thing he might try to do is, if Colin Willems, when he's underneath Austin Blaylock, that'll expose that bottom, and if Black can get up to the back bumper of Colin, he can follow right behind him, and both of them can get clear over Blaylock, sending him to 3rd. That's kind of Black's plan right now, and then, of course, he'll try to get by Willems for 1st. But first, Willems has to try to get underneath Blaylock. He's got a nice run off of turn number 2 there. And they are side by side on the front stretch. Blaylock still with a little bit of a nose, but Colin Willems able to keep it right there. They're door-to-door through 1 and 2. Blaylock with a little bit of a nose on the back stretch. Oh, they door each other! Contact! Blaylock sideways He is able to save it. What a save by Austin Blaylock. Wow. That could have ended up extremely bad for both Colin Willems and Austin Blaylock, but luckily Blaylock is able to save that. Let's take a look at the replay again. These two side by side on the backstretch. So it's kind of watch where Blaylock is. Looks like Colin actually comes up a little bit. What it looks like to me here is it looks like Colin comes up as high as he can to kind of get as much of an arc into 3 and 4 as he can so he can have a good run off. And then Blaylock was making that cut down into 3. And they kind of just meet each other, and we see Blaylock get sideways, but somehow, some way, he was able to save it. So, great save for Austin Blaylock. No caution comes out. No harm, no foul. We stay green flag here at Kentucky, but certainly a close one. Stephen Black trying to reel in Colin Willems for that first place position. Yeah, big run through 1 and 2 for that 18 machine of Black. That was interesting contact because Willems and Blaylock, they're both teammates with CCM. So you don't typically see teammates make contact with each other. Try not to, but I mean, that's hard racing between those two. Both drivers' cars are still intact. Right now, you could throw a blanket over your top 5 from Colin Willems to Dave Wright. Drivers running really tight with each other. We'll see who will make a move first, though. Stephen Black, big run off of turn number 2. He's able to get right up to the back bumper of Colin Willems. He looks underneath him on the backstretch. He dives it down to the yellow line through turns 3 and 4. Black with the nose, heading off the corner, but a big run on the outside for Colin Willems. He has got the advantage over Black on the front stretch, and he is able to shut the door. But Stephen Black staying right behind Colin. He is right on his back bumper. They are side by side. Or no, they're not. Black, I mean, they are nose to tail, though. Willems, though, able to extend that gap between him and Black a little bit that lap. Nice run off of turn number 4, though. That Camaro is just trying to set something up on Colin Willems here. He's able to once again get to the back bumper of Willems. He tries looking to the outside. Is he going to go that route? Yeah, it looks like he is. He's staying up there on that outside. It looks like Colin, he went down kind of lower to give him that lane, but Stephen Black decides to just stay behind Colin for the time being. Another fantastic run off of turn number 2. Right up to the back bumper of Colin Willems. He could potentially set something up here into 1 and 2. He does not. Stephen Black does not decide to dive it down there. And Colin Willems will keep that lead for the time being. Whoa! Look at that. Colin Willems, Austin Blaylock, both making that turn onto pit road. So look at that. Our first two drivers making green flag pit stops. The pit window has opened. I'd say it is time to come in. We're going to see a lot of these drivers start to come in. So with these two coming in, this will give Stephen Black the lead. Dave Wright second, Brian Merle Jr. third. We've got a battle going on for that fifth place position right now between teammates Brian Newty, Joe Wright. And if I am not mistaken, that may be the last pit stop that we will need to make today. That'll depend. We'll see here. But at the moment, we're watching this battle for fifth between teammates Joe Wright and Brian Newty. Brian. I mean, he's right there. He's right in the coattails of Joe Wright. Just looking for the right opportunity to make the move, trying to build up a run here. Looking to see what Joe Wright's doing. Where he's braking, where he's lifting, where he's getting back in the gas. Going to try to use that to his advantage here. Newty, good run on the front stretch. Trying to get closer and closer to that back bumper of Joe Wright, but we see Joe actually extending that gap a little bit, heading into 1 and 2 there. As I say that, Newty closes it up a little bit. And heading off of turn number 2, he is right to the back bumper of Joe Wright. He looks underneath him on the backstretch. He is to his door. Newty with the nose heading through 3 and 4. He was almost clear, but Joe Wright fighting back on the outside. He will have the nose heading onto the front stretch. Joe, he still has the nose through that short shoot into 1 and 2. But Brian Newty fights back on the outside, and he fights back hard. He's able to get clear over Joe Wright, and Newty will be to that 5th place position. See Brian Newty also beginning to reel in Devin Bushino for this 4th place position. Here's Colin Willems, Austin Blaylock, first drivers on fresh tires, working their way up through the field, trying to get back onto the lead lap. There we go, Brian Newty. He has caught Devin Bushino. He is right to his back bumper, and he looks to the outside, heading into 1 and 2. Bushino able to keep it ahead on the bottom. But a good exit for Brian Newty. He has the nose over Bushino heading into 3 and 4. There we go. Brian Newty shuts the door. Newty able to get into that 4th place position. So Devin Bushino, he will fall to 5th. Josh Hall, he is into the pits. Gonna grab some fresh tires and fuel. Yeah, I think this is going to be the last time that these drivers need to make a pit stop. I think they'll be able to make it for the rest of the way here. Of course, we still have a lot of the field coming in, but I'm saying for the drivers that have already come in or are coming in, Hall, Willems, Blaylock, I think they'll be able to make it the rest of the way. Brian Merle Jr. beginning to reel in Dave Wright for this 2nd place position. Jr., good run off of turn number 2, closing up that back bumper between him and Dave Wright. That deficit slowly decreasing. So right now we're all waiting on Stephen Black. When is he going to make that green flag pit stop? I mean, he's still looking pretty good. It may just be about fuel. Fuel is going to be the reason that he's going to come in here. Brian Newty, Devin Bucciano. Bucciano, after losing the position to Newty couple laps ago, he's trying to take it back. There we go. But looks like Newty able to still keep a decent distance between him and Devin at the moment. Elsewhere in the field, we got a tight battle. Austin Blaylock and Colin Willems. And Stephen Black, your leader. He is coming into the pits. Let's see. So now this will give the lead to Dave Wright. Bucciano continuing to try to reel in Brian Newty for third place there. Big run off of 2 for Bucciano. He's able to get right to the back bumper of Newty, heading into 3 and 4. See Newty extending that gap a little bit through the corner. But as I say that, nice exit off of 4 for Devin Bucciano. He's within striking distance of Brian Newty. We're just waiting for him now to make the move. There we go. Brian Merle Jr., he's making that left turn onto pit road. Gonna get some fresh tires and fuel for that Mustang. Dave Wright still remains in the lead. Battle for second place still going on. Brian Newty, Devin Bucciano. And there we go. Brian Newty slowing down. He will head on to pit road. Ooh, a little bit squirrely on entry. Dave Wright will remain in the lead. We've got a battle for third. Joe Wright, Jeffrey Belk. I'd say Joe Wright will probably be coming in this time by or next time by. Yeah, there we go. He's coming in along with Jeffrey Belk, both of them making that left turn onto pit road. Dave Wright, he remains in the lead, but he's got Devin Bucciano reeling him in. We see Dave Wright slowing down. Or he was all the way on the apron there. I don't know. Yeah, looks like he was indicating he's pitting because there he goes now. Dave Wright hopping onto pit road. Looks like Devin Bucciano also coming in. And that will leave just one driver that still needs to make a green flag pit stop. And that is Eddie Morris, who looks like is coming in this time by. So as it all cycles through, Colin Willems will be the leader here at Kentucky. He's got Austin Blaylock right behind him, knocking on the door for this first place position. Big run on the backstretch for Blaylock. As I say that, though, we see Willems extend that gap between him and Blaylock a little bit. And at this time, I'm going to turn up the volume and pump up the intensity. Here you will get to see the sights and hear the sounds of the racetrack. Here we go. That will do it for Pump Up the Intensity. Hopefully you enjoyed us turning up the volume. We set our sights now back to the racing action. We've got a battle for the lead continuing between Colin Willems and Austin Blaylock. But we see Willems extending that gap between him and Blaylock. I mean, hey, Austin, he's keeping it right there. This time I'm going to do a little bit of a flyby through the field. You are going to get to see where your favorite driver is currently running. We've got, of course, Colin Willems in first. Austin Blaylock resides in second at the moment. Third is Stephen Black. Fourth is Brian Nudie. And at the moment, rounding out your top five, that is Brian Myrtle Jr. Sixth is Josh Hall. Seventh, we've got Joe Wright. Eighth is Devin Bushnell. Ninth is Dave Wright. And rounding out your top 10, that is Jeffrey Belk. And then last but not least, that is Eddie Morris in 11th. So there you go. That is a flyby through the field. And while we were looking at that, Blaylock reeling in Willems for that first place position. Good run off of two there. He is able to get right up to his back bumper. He will stay behind him for the time being. Continuing to try to set up a run here. Willems, Blaylock, they have been battling for a lot of tonight's event. And looks like it's no different at the moment because, I mean, Blaylock, he is right there behind Colin Willems. Now, I will say this, Blaylock and Willems, they currently have 26-lap-old tires. And that's bad news because third place Stephen Black, he has only 15 lap tires. So Stephen Black and the rest of the field, they have 10 lap or more younger tires compared to Colin Willems and Austin Blaylock. So these two may be losing their top 2 spots very soon. But at the moment, they continue to battle it out for first. I will say this, Colin Willems extending that gap between him and Blaylock. And yep, don't look now. Here comes Stephen Black. He's got 10 lap fresher tires than these drivers. He's reeling them in fast. Yeah, look at that. Oh, there we go. Colin Willems, Austin Blaylock. They're actually coming in. Wow. So it looks like these drivers have another set behind the wall. So it looks like Colin Willems, Blaylock, they're going to take advantage of that and get some fresh tires. Yeah. Look at that. Colin Willems, fresh tires. Same thing for Austin Blaylock. So this will give the lead now to Stephen Black. Elsewhere in the field, we got a battle for fourth beginning to brew. Joe Wright, Devin Buccineau. Good run for Devin heading into turns 1 and 2. Trying to look underneath Joe. Right behind them as well, there's Dave Wright. So Devin Buccineau kind of in a right sandwich at the moment. He dives down into 3 and 4, able to get to Joe Wright's door. They are, there we go, door to door through 3 and 4. Wright able to hold his own on the outside, but a great run off of 4. Good corner exit speed for Devin Buccineau, and he will have the nose over Joe as they cross the start-finish line. And there we go, an entry of 1 and 2. Big run for Buccineau. He is able to shut the door and moves up into that 4th place position. Joe Wright staying right behind Devin Buccineau, though. As I say that, though, Buccineau really extends that gap between him and Joe. Here are our biggest movers and fallers of tonight's event. Biggest mover is definitely Brian Merle Jr., who currently runs in that 3rd place position. He started this race all the way back in 10th. And he has shown a lot of speed throughout this event. He's been very consistent, and here he is running in the top 3, hoping to hang on and grab a podium here tonight. Our biggest tough break has definitely been Eddie Morris. It has been an absolutely rough race for him, starting off before the stage break at lap number 40. I will say this, Josh Hall is into the pits right now as we just now hit 25 laps to go. Josh Hall hoping to get some new shoes and a drink of fuel on that 81 machine. But like I was saying, it's been a rough day for Eddie Morris, even before the end of the stage break, or as we came upon the stage break. Eddie Morris had to come in 2 laps earlier because, I mean, his tires were pretty much shot. He also had some right side damage, and it's not been a good day tire-wise for Eddie Morris. I don't know if he's just been burning them up too quick, or there's just been some other factors working against him, but it's just, man, it's been not the day that he wanted. And it especially hurts for Eddie, as he is one of our playoff drivers. He's very close to that cutoff line. I mean, he could be below the cutoff line at the end of this race. I don't know. Joe Wright reeling back in Devin Buccineau for this 4th place position, and now's the perfect time to try to make a pass. Buccineau was kind of stuck in traffic there. Austin Blaylock, Colin Willems, but I don't think they're going to be too much traffic because, I mean, they've got fresher tires. They go right by Devin Buccineau. So Buccineau extending that gap between him and Wright. Do want to mention this, make sure to go visit our web store, IntensityBroadcasting.com. We are always dropping polls and make sure to go check out our web store, IntensityBroadcasting.com. We've got all of our merchandise on there from your favorite broadcaster, your favorite drivers, and all of your favorite leagues. We've got, of course, all of our Intensity Broadcasting merchandise, shirts, hats, mugs. Got all of the Atlee Weiss Racing merchandise. We got some shirts, some cool hoodies, polos, a bunch of cool auto racing novelty items. We've got our driver collections. Go support some drivers that race across the East Coast. We've got our lifestyle collections, our team collections, and of course our league collections. Make sure to go check out the league collections and pick up an SCSRA t-shirt. The t-shirt comes in 5 different colors: black, navy, red, sport gray, and white, and sizes small to 5XL. A lot of awesome items on the Intensity Broadcasting store. Make sure to go check all what we have to offer. Makes for perfect birthday gifts. Definitely go check us out. Looks like Brian Nudi able to get by Stephen Black for that first place position. I don't know if maybe Stephen Black's burnt off his tires or he's just saving for the last few laps of this race, but I mean, Nudi was able to go right by him with ease. Black's definitely burnt off his tires or something. We got a tight battle between Colin Willems and Austin Blaylock for that 9th place position. These two coming up, trying to get by Stephen Black. Blaylock looks to Willems' outside. Willems going to try to use Black as a pick here. But Blaylock will go to the outside, or he's trying at least. We're almost 3 wide there. But no, Blaylock will decide to go down to the bottom and try to pass Black down there, which it looks like he is able to. Next week, for the final race of the round of 11, we are going to be at Homestead for some more intermediate track action. Homestead is always fun with the differing lines that you see. It is probably the main track where you see drivers running that outside. If you can make it work, it can be really beneficial. So that's going to be a fun race to determine who will move on to the round of 8. Of course, after that race, 3 drivers will no longer be in the playoffs, so a lot on the line next week, next Wednesday. And of course, as mentioned, because a big announcement last week, here on Wednesday nights on Intensity Broadcasting will no longer be the SCSRA Xfinity Series. But instead, we are going to be going next-gen racing for the top series. It's been about, this summer it'll be about a year since the next-gens have been released. There's been a lot of changes, a lot of tweaks to everything to make it more realistic, to make the car better. And the series decided to finally implement it. And so there will be no more Xfinity Series. It'll be the Cup cars for the top series, the next-gens for the top series. And then, of course, the trucks will be the lower series. So a lot of fun stuff coming up here in the SCSRA series. Make sure to tune in tomorrow night for the Thunderstruck Super Series Legends Series, where they're going to be racing at none other than the Nashville Fairgrounds Mini. So that's going to be some awesome short track racing. Alex Veith is going to have the call for that one. Got 12 laps to go here at Kentucky. Got a battle for 6th. Jeffrey Belk coming up on Dave Wright for that 6th place position. We see Wright tagging the wall a little bit there. That might cost him a little bit of momentum. See Belk, I mean, he is getting right up to the back bumper of Dave Wright there. And he is going to look low heading on to the tri-oval. Dave Wright still with the nose, but I mean, Belk is pretty much door-to-door with him. There we go. Belk, he's got the nose heading into 1 and 2. And he is able to get clear. So Jeffrey Belk now to 5th. He's going to set his sights on Joe Wright. Going to try to break into the top 5 before this race is through. Austin Blaylock, Colin Willems battling for this 9th place position. And we have got 10 laps to go here at Kentucky. Patience has officially run out for a lot of these drivers. If you're going to make a move, the time is now. Most of the field is spread out, but we do have a few drivers close to each other that could make some moves before this race is over. Devin Butchno and Joe Wright, they're close to each other. Belk, Dave Wright. And then, of course, we've got this really tight battle between Austin Blaylock and Colin Willems. We might see these two swap positions before this night is over. So there is Blaylock trying to set up the pass on Willems here. These two have been running with each other a lot all throughout tonight's event. Man, this has been a great race here tonight at Kentucky. I mean, the main reason is the battles between these two. Blaylock, Willems, they've had some great battles all throughout tonight's event, but with how pit strategy worked, looks like they're going to finish in the back portion of the field tonight, which is definitely unfortunate for these two who put on a show. Looks like Willems extending that gap between him and Blaylock. Still have some other potential battles, like I mentioned, Jeffrey Belk, Dave Wright, and Devin Butchno and Joe Wright. Majority of the field, though, spread out. Brian Nudi, he is not home free yet, but it's looking pretty good. He has dominated a lot of tonight's event. He won the stage after starting in 4th. And here he is leading with 5 laps to go, hoping nothing goes wrong with the car, hoping no caution comes out, hoping that he can have a mistake-free, about to be 4 laps here. If he wins tonight, this will be Brian's 6th win of the season, sorry. I mean, he's been absolutely dominant all throughout this season. It'll be his 9th top 5, 10th top 10, and 12th career win. Brian, and of course, this will lock Brian into the round of 8, so next week at Homestead, even if he has a bad finish, he won't need to worry about making it to the next round because he will be locked in. In his first race back in a very, very long time, in his first race back in a very, very long time, that is Stephen Black. I mean, he has not ran in SCSRA race in, wow. Let me tell you. Stephen Black, he has not ran an SCSRA race since January. Sorry, he has not run SCSRA since August 17th, 2022. It's been a very, very long time since we've seen Stephen Black in this series. So glad to see him back. And he's had a really, really great race tonight, leading some laps. And as long as Brian Nudi hangs on to it, he will come across that start-finish line in second. But Brian Nudi, fantastic race tonight. He was the class of the field. He's been dominant all season long, and that continues into the playoffs. It continues tonight here at Kentucky. There goes Nudi, heading through turns 3 and 4. He's got some lap cars ahead of him. That won't matter. There's the 40, heading off of turn number 4, onto the front stretch. That Camaro crosses the start-finish line. Brian Nudi is the winner here at Kentucky. He wins the Bluegrass 200. What a race for the man from Santa Rosa, California. He grabs his 6th win of the season. Not to be outdone, Stephen Black takes second. Great run for Brian Merle Jr. He finishes 3rd. Butchino 4th. And Joe Wright, he will round out the top 5. And there's Brian Nudi going to that start-finish line, where he crossed this race on that, on that final lap in that first place position. He's got his teammate Stephen Black pulling up beside him. Brian Merle Jr. there as well with that 3rd place finish. And now Brian Nudi, he will burn it down here at Kentucky. What a race it was for Brian Nudi. Yeah, see, he definitely deserves this celebration. Starting off the playoffs with a bang. Like I mentioned, this will lock him into the round of 8. And this will definitely give him a ton of momentum heading into the rest of these playoff races. It is now time for the driver interviews here at Kentucky. Starting off, we are going to pull in the McKinleyville Barbershop sponsored driver from McKinleyville, California. He was the SCSRA All-Star Race winner in Season 1. Let's go ahead and pull in Brian Merle Jr. Brian, this is Atlee in the broadcast room. Do you have a copy?
Man, long time no talk, buddy.
Absolutely. I mean, definitely miss having you up here in the broadcast room after, the podiums. But you had one tonight here at Kentucky. Phenomenal drive. Great way to start off the playoffs in your pursuit of the championship. You had your work cut out for you starting in that 10th place position, but quickly able to work your way up through the field. I mean, showed speed all race long. We're running in the top 5 to the top 3. Ended up finishing in 3rd. I mean, phenomenal run. I mean, what was your key to your strong run tonight?
a good setup. That's 2 nights in a row we've had a good setup to run on. I felt a lot like last night where you could just drive on that rear tire. Had to do a little fuel save mid-run of the second, and just you had to just take care of that rear tire. The front tire I wasn't too worried about. I'm sure some people were driving hard on that front tire. I chose to run it on the rear tire.
Now I noticed this track very kind of bumpy. How were you able to combat those bumps here at Kentucky?
Turn 1 and 2, I had down pretty good. If you hit the bump getting into 1, you could really hook the apron. But if you got too low, you hit that apron and it'd bobble the car. So I was just using that to my advantage. I was giving up a ton of entry and taking a little trick, I think, out of Cody Moore's book and trying to slide that rear tire and get it to free the car up. And that's what I was doing. I struggled in 3 and 4 the whole time. If you couldn't wrap the black mark, you had to be about 2-3 feet above it and just try not to push off of turn 4 too bad and wear those tires out.
Now, before we let you go, Brian, is there any sponsors or shout-outs?
Well, I finished P3 last night, and I did not thank my girlfriend, Lindsay. And, I got to shout my 6-week-old son out, Brody. So, thanks to her for letting me do this. My mom's in town, so she's waiting for me. She made some dinner, so thanks to my mom for waiting for 2 nights. And my teammate, Dev, you for doing the broadcast. Dev Sports Cards and McKillville Barbershop, and just everybody who's trying to keep this thing going.
Well, 2 top 3s in a row yesterday and today. Hopefully you can keep up these strong runs for the rest of the playoffs. Great run tonight with the podium, Brian. Have a great rest of your night.
Thanks, buddy.
No problem. All right. We have not had Stephen Black in the broadcasting room in a long time. Let's go ahead and pull in the man from Spring Lake, North Carolina. Steven, this is Atlee in the broadcast room. You got a copy?
I got you, Atlee. What's up?
Man, long time no see. In your first race in this Xfinity series since August of 2022. You have a great run here tonight at Kentucky. We saw you lead some laps throughout this race, battling it out with some of your CCM teammates. You ended up coming a little bit short, finishing about 6 seconds behind Brian Nudi. I mean, what do you think you maybe could have done differently to change the result of this race?
I probably shouldn't have been so bad at saving tires and probably shouldn't have pitted 5 laps before everyone else did. Because I was having a clutch just to make it to the end. And I kind of ignored the tires just so I could make it on fuel. So it definitely was a double-edged sword that cut me both ways.
Yeah, I know tires extremely important here at Kentucky. I mean, what's the key to saving tires here?
I don't know because I wasn't able to do it very well. I think it was more about running slow at the beginning of every run. It worked out the second run after the stage. I was running a little bit slower than I was for sure at the beginning of the race, and I felt like the tires were a lot better off. I didn't even look at them after I pit again, but I definitely wasn't as plowing tight off the corners that I was on the first run. So I think that was the biggest key, and trail braking 3 and 4 helped out a lot.
Now, before we let you go, is there any sponsors or shout-outs?
Shout out to Intensity Broadcasting for broadcasting both races we have every week in this league. Shout out to Brian Nudi, who managed to make it out tonight. Shout out to Dustin Dean, who's still in my thoughts and prayers. Shout out to Eddie Morris, Joe Wright, Austin Blaylock, Colin Willems, and everyone else that was in the CCM Discord channel for holding it down tonight.
Awesome. Well, congrats on the runner-up tonight, Steven. Have a great rest of your night.
Yep, thank you.
No problem. All right. Now let's pull in your winner. He just grabbed his 6th win of the season, 12th career win here in the Xfinity Series. He was your SCSRA Truck Series Season 3 champion, the man from Santa Rosa, California, who has been dominant all season long. Let's pull in Brian Nudie. Brian, this is Atlee in the broadcast room. You got a copy?
I got you, buddy.
Awesome. Well, another great run here tonight at Kentucky, coming off a great run last week at Auto Club. I mean, you showed up tonight right out of the gate. I know you didn't really have the qualifying run that you wanted, started in 4th, but you're able to keep it in the top 3 for a lot of tonight's event. And, of course, by the end of that first kind of run before the stage, you're able to get up to that first place position. And after that, you're just kind of able to keep it up there. You saved tires really well, and, of course, you ended up parking it in victory lane tonight. So, I mean, what was your key to your win tonight?
Yeah, just trying to save tires best I could. That first run, I would just wanted to save just enough fuel to where I knew I was 1 lap to the good for the stage. That way, just afterwards, I would be able to make it around, wouldn't have to pit early, get a penalty. And then on the beginning of that second run, I kind of smacked the wall. I don't know if that kind of hurt the car a little bit, but I also was backing off a major fuel save mode, just trying to make sure that I had plenty of fuel to where I didn't have to try and save at the end, where I could just push as hard as I could.
Now, this is your 6th win of the season. You are locked in to that round of 8. I mean, how is this going to set the stage for you for the rest of the playoffs here?
Well, hopefully I don't think I'm going to be here next week. The week after that, I'm not sure either. So it's going to be really spotty here for me for the playoffs. So hopefully I can, those points that I did all throughout the regular season, hopefully they kind of carry me to the final round, and hopefully I can make it and get myself a championship.
Now, before we let you go, Brian, of course, is there any sponsors or shout-outs you'd like to thank?
Oh, yeah, as always, I got to thank my beautiful wife for letting me do this. I got to thank you guys up in the booth, doing an awesome job. I got to thank all the admins, everybody that showed up. Numbers kind of tapering off a little more than usual, with the playoffs this year. It's just really bad year, but we're recruiting. And if you'd like to race with us, go ahead and contact Devin Pacino. You can go ahead and leave a comment in here. We'll try to find you, get you all figured out, and try to get this racing league back up to what it once was, and boost some numbers back up.
Absolutely. Definitely a great league to join, as you saw tonight, with the really clean and competitive racing. But, of course, you got to try to beat Brian Nudie, and it's very hard. So, again, congrats on the win tonight here at Kentucky, and have a great rest of your night there, Brian.
Yep. Thanks, sir.
No problem. All right. That will do it for tonight's event. One more time, congratulations to Brian Nudie on his 6th win of the season. I want to give a big thank you to all of the league admins: Brian Nudie, Eddie Morris, Sylvain Seagoin, David Hartney, and Devin Butchno. Thank you to all of them for all that they do for this league. Without them, this league would not run as smoothly as it does. As mentioned by Brian, the league is recruiting for Season 2, so make sure to contact Devin Butchno, Brian Nudie, or the SCSRA Facebook page to get more information on how to join the series. As you saw tonight, it's a great, clean, and competitive league with little to no cautions. So definitely a good league if you're kind of looking for some good competitive racing with some of the best eNASCAR drivers on the platform. I want to give a big shout out to Dev Sports Cards for sponsoring the Xfinity series. Make sure to go check out his eBay store. Put the link to it in the description. Visit our... Oh, and of course, thank you to the Butt Kicker for partnering with Intensity Broadcasting. Make sure to check out their website to find a product that's right for you. They make great haptic products for sim racing and gaming. And, of course, I want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in to watch tonight. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to Intensity Broadcasting on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, as that would be greatly appreciated. We're trying to reach our goals of 2,500 followers on Facebook, 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and 1,000 followers on Twitch. Visit our Twitter page, Intensity Broad 1. We're always dropping polls and interacting with our viewers on there. And make sure to visit our web store, intensitybroadcasting.com. We are always dropping new merchandise on there, and we've got merchandise from your favorite broadcast, your favorite drivers, your favorite leagues, and so much more. We've got all of our Intensity Broadcasting merchandise on there. At Luis Racing merchandise, a bunch of cool auto racing novelty items. Got our driver collections, our lifestyle collections, and our team collections. Make sure to check out, especially the SCSRA section of the league collections, and pick up an SCSRA t-shirt. Comes in 5 different colors and sizes small to 5XL. Make sure to turn on your notification bell, because next week it will be the final race of the round of 11. We will have 3 drivers going home, or not, at least not being in the playoffs after next week's event at Homestead. So make sure to turn on your notifications so you don't miss that race. I'm Atlee Atman-Leeson on behalf of the entire Intensity Broadcasting team. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Over and out.